For they say a war was waged, long, long ago, between lords with dignity and honesty, against those who lacked anything but pride, greed, and desire. This war is but a distant memory, and almost all of its records have been lost to time. This conflict is known as the Age of Chivalry.
And honestly, I frickin' miss this game. Like, there's nothing else like it at the time. As far as I know, it was the only medieval first-person shooter where you can man siege equipment, fight and block weapons, and use an assortment of like bows and arrows and crossbows, which just had such a good feel to them. I just need to say again that nothing else was like this game. Mount and Blade came out a whole year later, a game I have no memories of till at least Warband was released. So more or less what I'm saying is the only way I could achieve my medieval warfare itch was through Age of Chivalry. By thunder did it provide. The movement felt great, the sound design was just perfect. When you whacked somebody with a frickin' javelin, you felt it. I remember this game actually being one of the distinct catalyst reasons as to why I set up a second Steam account and bought the orange box again, so that whenever I had my friends over, two of us could be playing Age of Chivalry at once. And now I'm not going to say that Age of Chivalry was a perfect game. It has a lot of flaws, and it has a lot of jank to it too, but that's a lot of the charm, and those moments provide the best laughter. And you know what? It's a free game. It was always a free game. I mean, you had to buy Half-Life 2, but it just provided just a feeling of like, they're giving this to you, and you accept it with gratitude. But as of late, the war is actually over. The servers are down. There's no players left. All you can do really is a LAN party. And last month I was feeling incredibly nostalgic for Age of Chivalry, so I just wanted to hop on and take a look at things. Aw man, the achievements. Man, I don't know what it is about them, but geez. You have that drive to get as many as you can. Shame about Age of Chivalry though. These I'll never get. If you've by chance seen my GTA Census video, then you well know my feeling about stats and numbers. I wish every online game did this. I really like seeing your entire career in the game in a nutshell. Oof, my kill to death ratio is awful. Hey, at least I killed somebody with a catapult. Looks like I spent more time playing Agatha than I did the Masons. Which I mean is fine, the Masons are edgy. Ah yes, the epic opening intro. It was always weird to me because there was assets used in it that never appeared in the game. One such example is that the knight here has a chainmail coif underneath his helmet, but if you look at the endgame models, they're just wearing the helmet over their head. In this old clip, we see the ranged weapons being used by the footmen. Besides that, this next part that I'm going to show you just got me so hyped and ready to play Age of Chivalry every time I saw it.
Hold on to your butts.
Then there's me watching this like, oh yeah, that's gonna be me. And then I'm the guy who gets laid out every single time. Quiet as the grave. Thousands of soldiers died here, and now it's just me. One of my favorite things about Age of Chivalry was a lot of the objectives were incredibly particular to the level. It wasn't your standard affair, capture the flag or capture the point. It was disguised as something that was more story related. For example, in this level, the objective was pretty much a payload right now. It was decorated though to be a wagon full of poison that was due to go to the Agathian well. And en route to this well, there was obstacles that dotted the roads.
Objective complete.
That sound never gets old to me. With the Agathian well poisoned, it was now time to fry the big fish. Some Mason deserters were captured by the Agathians and are being held in the fort, and they're about to squeal. The current objective is to get inside that fort and kill all three of them before they can expulge any information. Here's a great example of the catapult in use, where you can destroy the bridge, that watchtower, and the gatehouse. But due to the limited equipment, there was always the one guy who had any chance of using the siege equipment correctly, and so everybody always let him have it. So all the captives have health bars attached, so here I was just trying to see how much health they supposedly had. Then he collapsed into a pile of shoes. Ah yes, the dreaded Mason butt punch. I attempted to whammo the last guy with the catapult, but sadly that's not an option. Talking about the models real quick, I think they all looked pretty good.
The Agathian soldiers had a late medieval vibe to them, the plate armor mixed with the chainmail. Well, as for the masons being entirely fictitious, if some details were tweaked, the footmen and the bowmen could be from the high medieval period. The footman himself, if he just lost the chest piece and the shoulder piece, would look pretty good in the 1200s. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track here. I always felt like, though, the mason heavy soldier had a weird sheen to him. In comparison to everybody else's faces, he looked like he just drank a whole gallon of olive oil. My biggest problem with the heavy soldier from the Agathian nation is that he doesn't have a mail coif protecting his neck, which is kind of a bad choice for this kind of warfare. All in all, the Age of Chivalry models are super quality in comparison to most Half-Life mods you get. Of every map in Age of Chivalry, Battlefield I felt was the most played. It was very straightforward, just an open map with many ways to go about the objectives. It started off with a simple capture point, and then developed into a capture the flag where you had to bring back 2 planks, and then it turned into a payload where you had to push this bomb cart to destroy a mason gatehouse. Bowmen and crossbowmen on this map were no joke and were in fact infuriating. The wide open areas and the lack of cover just gave them all of the opportunities to pick you off whenever they wanted. Lord help you if you were playing as a heavy knight or a crusader who didn't have a shield. With a change of scenery, we go to Pub Fight. I quite enjoy this map. It's just a cozy little burg of maybe 100 or so residents, 4 gates and 1 welcoming tavern in a little market square. You know what, just on a whim, let's go check out the options and see what we got. Okay, your standard stuff. Oh, class select keys, that's fun. Yeah, and, oh, what's this? Does this mean I can... Cross my fingers for Counter-Strike tier. I swear if those guys are running into a frickin' wall, I'm gonna lose my mind. Where the hell are these guys? Oh yes, they can fight! Now I just gotta find them and introduce them to this axe. Gird your loins! What the hell? Oh no, he better not be invulnerable. And that's how it's done. Okay, so in all seriousness, yeah, these bots they're adequate. They can block, they can use projectiles, they can shoot their crossbows like they have an aimbot, but in terms of their actual performance, they're below average. It does remind me, though, how good the audio quality is in Age of Chivalry and just how great it feels to hit somebody with a heavy object.
Once more onto the breach.
Unless the map is an open plain, the bots are absolutely useless. How they more or less work is they hone in on the closest enemy, swinging their weapons sporadically. And sadly their movement speed is pretty slow as well. I scoured through all of the console commands available and upsettingly nothing can change that. I bumped him off because he sucked at doing his job. One of my favorite details about the sound, just going over it again, is that they made 3 separate kinds of impact sounds depending on the class level of the armor. The most satisfying to smash into is the Heavy Knight, of course.
Objective complete.
I always thought the Mason missile troops looked like Shel Silverstein. I loved being a crossbowman and taking point on top of a siege tower and just plucking at the enemy defenders. And if you got hit yourself, it was still amusing because you flew off the side of the siege tower. Occasionally you get funky skyblocks, things like this. Kinda gives you a little bit of a headache.
Check out these bioluminescent wood chips.
The last objective is you gotta beat a transport horse to death, which feels a little harsh for the horse.
Objective complete.
Hope you guys are having fun.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Go to bed. I said go to sleep.
Get ready. Fight.
No!
I just killed an enemy with a battering ram.
Siege is the only map in Age of Chivalry that requires 2 people to complete the final objective, which kinda sucks because that means I can't finish this one off.
You realize there's a castle siege going on, right?
Nah, tap off.
By Agatha's crown, what's this?